Hey, good afternoon, Jaguar Country, and welcome back. If you're watching this, then you're ready to join us on lesson 2 of Writing a Rap with Mr. G. So I looked back yesterday, we had almost 200 people view our Writing a Rap with Mr. G video, so it looks like we're off to a good start. And speaking of yesterday's lesson, let's think back to our learning yesterday. And if you remember, yesterday our focus was to brainstorm a whole web, a whole library of words around a certain topic that we could write a rap about. Remember, we chose a topic that we all are familiar with, and that's the topic of spring. So we started thinking about words that relate to spring. We talked about the grass, the flowers, the weather, March 19th, and then we even did some details off those words like the grass, it's green, it grows, it needs to be mowed. And we started finding little rhymes as we were brainstorming that we may go back to today. Now, here's the thing. We're not going to use all of these words today. As a matter of fact, we might just use a few of them, but this is going to inspire us to think about other words that we can use to write our rap. And I have to tell you, I spent a little bit of time last night pre-writing the rap because I didn't want to have you sit there again for 40 minutes as I brainstorm. So I'm going to share with you what I have done so far with the rap and how I got to that point. It was a little bit messy. I'm going to think aloud with you. I'm going to model for you a little bit. And by the end of this lesson, you'll have a little rap about springtime. And hopefully, and more importantly, you'll be able to write your own rap about any topic you choose. So if you think back to yesterday, I like to get inspired a little bit before I start. I find some music that is motivating, it's positive, it puts me in the right frame of mind. So let's get inspired for a second with a classic.
I reminisce. Yeah. I reminisce for a spell, or shall I say think back 22 years ago to keep it on track. The birth of a child on the 8th of October. A toast, but my granddaddy came sober.
Yeah, I like that one. That's a classic right there. So once we get into the frame of mind to write a rap, we're in a good mood, our vibe is right, we can actually start to pen the verse. Now, the verse is a fancy way of saying the actual rap, or at least the chunk of the rap. You notice that songs are usually broken up into a verse, a hook, which is the chorus of the song, a verse, a hook, and a verse and a hook. So we're only focusing on the verse. That's kind of the structure of most rap songs. So like I said, I have to tell you, I started looking at these words yesterday, and we started with the first line. Remember, the first line for me is always the most difficult. But once I get that first line, I find myself saying it over and over and over again until I have the next line. And I may play with that first line a bit, change some things. Then once I get the second line, I say the first and the second line over and over and over again until I come to the third line. You got it. So yesterday we decided the first line was going to be, I stepped outside, I saw the sun shine, I knew spring had sprung, it was March 1-9. Remember, we talked about finding words that we could tweak a little bit and rhyme. Now here's the cool thing. I know 9 doesn't actually rhyme perfectly with rhyme because the ending letters are a little different. N-I-N-E and R-H-Y-M-E. But that's okay. When you're rapping, when you're writing a rap song, as long as your rhythm is on, your flow is on, and the words slightly rhyme in the end, and you can tweak them a little bit to make them fit. So we're going to stick with that first line. Now, I have to tell you, I started writing a bit yesterday, and this is kind of tricky to do on this camera, so I'm going to show you a few pages of my process and how messy it was. So I started writing yesterday, and you can see this piece of paper, and it looks like a bunch of scribbles, doesn't it? The first line is on there. I stepped outside. I saw the sunshine. I knew spring had sprung. It was March 1-9. Then I thought of another line. I kept going. I scribbled it out. I got rid of some things. I added some words, and I find myself getting a little bit off focus with this one. I didn't like where it was going, so I set it to the side. I grabbed a new piece of paper, and I started writing on this one, and it started coming together a little bit more. You'll notice the words are a little more clean in terms of not being scratched out, only one line scratched out. And I liked where this one was heading, but I wasn't totally ready with it. I wasn't quite satisfied, so I did one more, and you'll see the difference. So you'll see that there are no more scratch outs. Things are coming together, and this was the one. This is kind of like the final copy before the final copy. So when you're writing in class, I know you're writing a lot of different drafts and versions. This is the one right before my final copy. Once I got this one done, I went to a final copy that was very neat and easy to read. And I want to show you the structure of this. I'm going to say it with you or say it to you, then I'll wrap it. Then I'm going to show you as how a rapper, you can kind of, again, tweak it and fit some words in there to give it a flow and a rhythm. So if you look at this one, it's super neat. You'll notice that each of my lines ends with a backslash. That's just for me. So you got to remember, when you're writing a rap, you're writing to an audience. The audience that you're writing to is the listener. So it's important for you to know when you're rapping where to stop. So these little lines are just little signals for me to tell me when to stop. And so I'll say what I have for you right now, and then I'm going to rap it to you, and then I'm going to show you how we can put some words in there. And as I'm doing this, I want you to think about yesterday, this map and how many of the words came from here. So it says, I'll say it first. I stepped outside, I saw the sun shine, I knew spring had sprung, it was March 1-9. The flowers are blooming, the grass is growing, no more shoveling snow, you know we'll soon be mowing. The lawn getting long, a bird singing a song, and the breeze through the trees like it was singing along, so I hung up my hats, gloves, scarf, and boots, threw on my baseball hat, jacket, and tennis shoes too. So you'll notice not everything in there rhymes perfect. Listen to this. I hung up my hats, gloves, scarf, and boots, boo-oo-oots, threw on my baseball hat, jacket, and tennis shoes too. So I just took that little ooh in boots, shoes, and two, and I used that to rhyme with. There's also something in here that I want to capture in a minute when I rhyme this to you. It's a strategy that rappers use to catch a breath. It's really hard to rap all the time without catching a breath. So I'll say it now as a little more, with a little more rhythm, a little more cadence, and I want you to listen to how it goes. I may be using a little beat here too. I stepped outside, I saw the sun shine, I knew spring had sprung, it was March 1-9. The flowers, they're blooming, the grass is growing, no more shoveling snow, you know we'll soon be mowing. The lawn getting long, a bird singing a song, and the breeze through the trees like it was singing along, so I hung up my hats, gloves, scarves, and boots, threw on my baseball hat, jacket, and tennis shoes too. See how I did that so I part? That was put in there strategically so I could take a breath because I knew the next line was going to be a long one. Hung up my hats, gloves, scarf, and boots, threw on my baseball hat, jacket, and tennis shoes too. Whew, that's a mouthful. So I put that so I in there, had a chance to take a breath. Now, I'm going to say it again. And you'll notice I'm going to change the endings of some words. When we write the word mowing, growing, showing, it's okay when you rap to change that to mowing, growing, showing. It's hard to always get that perfect ending. And I'm going to add some words in here to make it kind of flow a little bit. So check this out. I stepped outside, I saw the sun shine, I knew spring had sprung because it was March 1-9. The flowers, they're blooming, the grass is growing, no more shoveling snow, you know we soon be mowing. The lawn getting long, a bird singing a song, and the breeze through the trees like it was singing along. So I hung up my hats, gloves, scarves, and boots, threw on my baseball hat, jacket, and tennis shoes too. All right, so I have a problem where once I write a rap like this, I say it about 100 times a day. So it won't be long and I won't even need to look at this piece of paper, and I'll be walking around, I'll say my rap, it'll have more rhythm, it'll have more cadence. I may even find a beat that I can rhyme to, and then you're off and running. So boys and girls, I want you to notice just a couple things to capture. We started with the brainstorm. This gave us some words to choose from, some ideas. Remember, I went through multiple rough drafts of the rap until I got to the one that I could actually read easily and well enough that if I read it over and over again after about 10 or 20 times, it's going to be in my mind. Does that make sense? Now, I'll do it one more time, and then I want to encourage you to do the same thing, whether it's with spring or it's gymnastics or even being a jaguar. How cool would that be? What it means to be a jaguar, showing respect to all, kind words, kind hands, a mission, all those things. Maybe that would be a cool one that you could share with me. So we'll end with one more time on this spring rap, and we'll see if it makes sense now, if we get a little rhythm and some flow to it. Here we go. I stepped outside, that's when I saw the sun shine on who spring had sprung, 'cause it was March 1-9. The flowers, they're blooming, the grass is growing, no more shoveling snow, you know we'll soon be mowing. The lawn getting long, a bird singing a song, and the breeze through the trees like it was singing along. So I hung up my hats, gloves, scarves, and boots, threw on my baseball hat, jacket, and tennis shoes too. Ooh. Jaguar Country, I miss you. I hope you can have some fun with this. I can't wait till we can see each other again, and maybe we can even do this spring rap to one another. Peace, Jaguar Country.